Well, hello, it's Richard Pearce from Finextra TV, and I'm really thrilled today to be joined by two of the members of our winning team in the emerging category from our recent hackathon at SustainableFinance.Live. You may have read a little bit about the solution these guys worked on, but just to remind you, if you're not sure, we ran a conference around sustainable cities, but we had a number of categories that we were looking at: geospatial data, de-risking the energy transition, impact-oriented financial instruments, and enabling a just transition. We had a number of teams enter, and in the category of emerging, we put this down to people that had met each other for the first time, weren't a large established corporate team, and here we are with the winners. So Arun and Ik, good morning. How are you?
Morning. I'm doing great.
Yeah, good to see you. Your team, Arun, tell us why the name We Succeed Together. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. Good morning. And firstly, thanks for having us, Richard. So this is a problem, and this sustainability is not a single problem, and it cannot be solved single-handedly by entities, corporates. People need to come together. It needs solutioning. It needs ideas to come together, people to think through. So when we were thinking about the name for our group, we said we are two random people who came in for the hackathon. And similarly, a lot of random strangers, people who may not have worked together, know each other, have to come together to solve some of these pressing challenges that we have. So that's kind of helped us coin the term "we succeed only together." And we took out the only word, but yeah, we succeed together.
Yeah, and you know, it's really helpful because it still surprises me the amount of people that say, well, what is a hackathon? Isn't that a bad thing when people, you know, hack into my bank or something? No, I mean, the origin of it is exactly what you said. You know, we look at a challenge, we come together, as you've called your name, and we collaborate to try and resolve issues. And it's a combination, isn't it, of business ideas, technology, and everything to come up with solutions. Now, Ik, you know, where do you work normally? What's your day job, and why did you choose to get involved in a hackathon?
So I'm a co-founder on FinTech, and our primary focus is enabling funding access to small to medium scale enterprises. And we understand, for instance, how climate has been definitely an issue for businesses, and for us, we believe that in our thinking, it was that in the medium term, we were going to get into that aspect of sustainable finance as one of the means of enabling small to medium scale enterprises who operate in challenged climatic areas to become more resilient in their operations. So beyond the traditional sort of fintech services that we provide, from digitization to funding access, you know, the sustainable finance area was a very important one for us in terms of helping us make the leapfrog. Yeah. So my primary area of work is in fintech. I'm a co-founder in it, and we have significant African operations as well. Yeah.
Fantastic. And Arun, the same to you. I know you work with a large organization, but tell us what you do in your day job, and again, why did you want to get involved in something like this, a hackathon, you know, with people, you know, you never met before?
Right. So I'm part of Wipro Consulting. I'm a managing consultant within the sustainability practice, and primarily focusing on banking and financial services clients. So we, from a service standpoint, on the responsible banking, responsible investments, disclosures and data, this is the kind of area that we're working with. And Wipro is a large org, so we obviously have clients from east to west of the world. Now, when it came to the hackathon, so I'm a follower of Finextra. I look up to Finextra for a lot of my day job and otherwise, for looking at the trends, what's happening. And this came to me as a notification because I was subscribed to one of the emails that came through. Now, what attracted me was sustainable finance. Sustainability is a challenge that we are trying to solve in and out every day for a lot of customers. And it needs a lot of new ideas and innovation to happen. So for me, this was the best opportunity to work. And I wasn't sure who's the who from the world is going to join, but with the background Finextra has in sustainable finance, I thought I'd be able to meet some excellent people like IK and many others, and even listen to many other ideas, work together and come up with some of these solutions that we can possibly take it to the larger world. So that's
fantastic. Well, that's really clear, and indeed that's what we're hoping to achieve. So that's useful. Tell us though about your solution. So you had a winning solution. Arun, let's stick with you for a minute. What was it? I think you targeted, as I said, the impact-oriented financial instrument challenge. What did you do? How did you go about deciding what to do, and what was the solution in a nutshell?
So we took a while to come to the kind of problem statements. Obviously, I had certain ideas in mind, IK had, and it took a bit of while to come together, brainstorm. We need to resonate with each other, come to an agreement on the exact problem. Now, I think both of us kind of acknowledge the fact that sustainable finance is a key decision maker in terms of, if you look at the banking financial service organization, not from years backdated, but even future looking. I mean, it's going to be exponentially growing. It has its ups and downs, but one of the pressing challenges within sustainable finance, and if you try to link it to the impact-oriented financial instruments, which is the theme that we chose, credibility is something that is always being looked at. And within credibility, when we say greenwashing, and a lot of banks, a lot of clients of ours, a lot of organizations in the world today are being called out for greenwashing. So we wanted to come together, and we came up with a use case. We came up with a framework. We unfortunately could not build a solution within the time frame which we could have. But the framework tries to address this greenwashing challenge for banking and financial services customers.
Fantastic. And how did you sort of, IK, how did you divide it up between you? I mean, obviously you weren't together. You were working remotely. How did you divide up the work and come to the conclusions, and kind of how was that experience for you?
I think it was a seamless one, really, because if you remember our team, we were 3 before, and then we became 2. So we realized that one of our team members had an idea that was significantly different from what we were pursuing. So as soon as we figured that she could actually run on her own and have our program, have our idea run differently, it became easy to coordinate, because both of us already were very clear about what we were pursuing. It was about the credibility of the entire sustainability-linked loans and credit. And with my background in international development, having worked with the UK Department for International Development, went into research, went into economics, and also worked in an EU project, it was clear the issue of credibility, it's a perverse thing. I mean, it's something that you can very easily transplant your skill and experience into. So that whole idea of credibility, and then the whole theory of change of how increased transparency, increased credibility, increased data availability, and then of course linking impact with expected outcomes was something that clearly resonated with me. So we simply brought in the sort of technical deep detail around sustainability-linked loans into that broader credibility, sustainability theory of change background that I had, and it was sort of a seamless sale.
Yeah, well, and it's a profoundly important area. Obviously, as you said, everyone's focused on it, and in the the couple of weeks that you had, we as the judges, and there were quite a number of, as you know, of judges were impressed by the focus you had, and then the detail that you were able to put in place. Arun, as a result of this, what will you do going forward? Is it something, not often one can take the project forward to fruition, but you can take the ideas into one's daily work. But what are you guys planning to do?
So this is an idea that I've by now already socialized with in terms of Wipro, started conversing with a lot of customers. So this whole open KPI, the transparent, how we're trying to address the larger credibility challenge, it's been all years from wherever I've been presenting this so far. So people have been quite receptive. People have been quite open to this. And I think like IK touched upon this as well. So he comes from a client finance kind of fintech background, where this possibly even has a use case. Now, I come from a consulting kind of organization. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to propose this idea, this framework to adoption. And can we take this forward to a number of customers? So it's a very open framework. but then it will have its own nuances depending on the geography where you are presenting this, implementing this. I mean, the regulators, the banking organizations, a lot of other stakeholders who are party to this large framework will have its own role to play. But then we take it forward and then see what happens next. Some clients are very receptive to this idea, and I think it will obviously go forward from where we are.
Yeah. And okay, what about you? Are you able to take anything forward from the work?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's coming from a SaaS background in fintech. These can very easily sit into sort of a marketplace and kind of platform where multiple stakeholders can sort of reference the repository that we have around climate-linked finance, KPIs and all of that to properly inform their participation in that industry. And for us as a fintech, this is a very important plug for us because we would also want to expand the base of financing that is available to SMEs in less developed countries. So if we would have a good groundswell of partnership for the platform, we can actually draw partners and have that as one of the resource options for us in terms of financing for sort of how we support small to medium scale businesses in areas that are significantly challenged by global changes in climate. Yeah.
Indeed. So tell us finally, the process. You signed up for it, as Arun described to us. Finextra hit you up with an email, and then here you are. Your winners. What was the process like? Just in terms of, as you said, listening to other people, meeting mentors, using the technology. Again, Arun, to you first of all, how was the experience for you?
I think it was great. And to the earlier question that you asked, Richard, as well, I think now I must appreciate the platform that made it quite seamless for us. For me and IK, we are in two parts of the globe to make the connects happen, to share artifacts, to present, obviously. And I think we had very good support from the mentor who kind of had, like we said, we are two different people. We took some bit of time to come together, and that's where the mentor played an excellent role, ensuring that we understand the problem, the ifs, the buts, and then come towards the consensus, given the timeline, and we can't be discussing on and on and on. So, and then Richard and all the judges who kind of had a look at our solution, I think, thanks to them as well. Obviously, we are where we are because of them too, and thanks for appreciating and acknowledging whatever we could do in the 2 weeks.
Very good. And IK, you're the fintech SaaS guy, so you probably can tell us a thing or two. How do you think we did?
Yeah, I think it was really good because when we started initially, I was really at a loss in terms of the fact that we had a very short period of time to achieve what we were looking for. So I was at the loss at that to say, okay, this is what you wanted to do. Do we have sufficient time to get this done? That's number one. And then I was also worried about whether we would have a good sort of mentorship base to get us up to speed to what we needed to do. I went online to try to see if I could see some pitch day presentations to see if I could, but I really didn't find anything. So for the first 1-2 days, it was like, okay, let's see. I just replied messages, hoping that there will be that break where things will become clearer. But that eventually came when we had the first conversation with yourself, I think, and some other person. I think we had like 2 of those sort of separate bilateral sessions where we got to understand really what was expected of us. And I think that's when it started to become very clear that this was doable. So number one, it became clear that it was doable. Number two, we then began to have our team meetings where we started to get clear ideas that shows that, okay, we had the ideas actually to pull this through. And then when we had our first draft after 3 days, it became even clearer what needed to be improved, what kind of research we needed to do. We got more realistic. So it became progressively clearer. And I think the support that we got in between helped to make that a success. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lesson to us there. Maybe put a few examples up from last year for you. But yeah, as you said, we succeed together, right? So it is all of us finding our way through the fog to try and find some answers. I'll leave the last word with you, Arun. What would you say to somebody thinking, well, I'm not sure I can do this. What would you say to someone about maybe getting involved next year?
I think people have a lot of questions to ask how this is going to happen, but I think at the end of even when we look back, all I have to say is this is a must-try event every year if you have, because it's one thing where you obviously work in a team concept. It's also, I mean, it's great if you have a team who can come into the hackathon and then still compete against a lot of other teams as well. But it's also one thing if you don't have a team, if you're a standalone person, it's a great opportunity to collaborate with the great likes across the world, because it's very important to hear those different perspectives, how people can complement each other. People may not agree to each other, and obviously you take back all these learnings away and go back and apply this. So I will ask everyone to come back and do this. I'll be there again next year if given a chance, but yeah, the same for each and every one of you.
Very good. Well, look, our time is up. As I've said all along, thank you. It's up to you guys, Seema, who we know was the runner-up, people like you getting involved, caring and doing something that's going to make the difference. So, I applaud you. And hopefully see you again next year, and maybe hear along the year about your progress. So for now, thank you very much indeed. Congratulations.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks,
Yeah, thank you, Richard. Yeah.